in my saltwater reef setup for the exact same reason, plus the fact that corals, inverts, and delicate saltwater fish. If you think a UV sterilizer will kill your beneficial bacteria, you're wrong. If you think it's the secret to crystal clear water, you're still kind of wrong. And if you've never used a UV before, you're not alone. I'm about to break it down. Let's go. A UV sterilizer uses ultraviolet light to destroy or deactivate microorganisms in the water that pass through it. That includes things like free-floating algae spores, harmful bacteria, and parasites in their free swimming stages. But here's the catch. UV only works on what actually goes through the sterilizer. If it's not in the water column, it's not getting zapped. This is one of the most common myths, that a UV sterilizer will wipe out your beneficial bacteria. But that's simply not how it works. Beneficial bacteria do not live in the water column. They live on surfaces, in your filter, on your rocks, in your substrate, your sponges. They are not suspended in the open water. So the UV sterilizer doesn't touch them. One of the main reasons people turn to UV is to clear up green water caused by free-floating algae. And it works if your UV unit is properly sized and installed. But stubborn algae stuck on your glass, on your decor, in the substrate, or even equipment is not going to be affected at all by a UV, not until you manually go in there and scrub it off those surfaces. Also, clear water does not always mean healthy water. You still need solid filtration, good maintenance, and stable parameters. A UV helps, but it's not a magic fix. How fast your water flows through the UV determines what it's effective at killing. A faster flow is great for controlling algae, but if you want to kill parasites like ick, velvet, or Brooklynella, you need to slow that water down. Some advanced setups even run two UV sterilizers, one with a fast flow for algae and one with a slower flow for parasites. That's a little bit of overkill for most, but in reef tanks or high value system, it's worth considering. Now, I've never used a UV on my freshwater African cichlid tank. Honestly, I didn't need it. With regular water changes and strong filtration, I was able to keep things crystal clear and disease-free for the most part. With that being said, I do use a UV now on my planet tank because it's a constant battle against algae growth in a heavily planted, heavily lit tank like this. And I use a UV in my saltwater reef setup for the exact same reason, plus the fact that corals, inverts, and delicate saltwater fish benefit from the added layer of a protection the UV brings. If you've ever dealt with a parasite outbreak after adding new fish, you know how frustrating and expensive that can be. I wiped out this entire 150-gallon saltwater with tap water only Fowler tank just a few months ago due to a velvet outbreak, and it was not fun at all. Check that video out up there. Now, in my quarantine tank setups, I usually rely on Seachem Metroplex and Seachem Paragard. Those are my go-to meds for internal parasites and external infections. But if you really want to take a step further, a UV adds another level of protection. It helps neutralize free-swimming parasites like ick or velvet before they get a chance to attach themselves to your fish. But you still need to wait for eggs to hatch and become free-swimming so the UV can do its thing. Don't just quarantine for a week or two like I've done in the past. It's not going to be long enough. But keep in mind that a UV is not a replacement for meds. It's a supplement to your quarantine process. Especially if you're quarantining high-value fish or stocking an entire new tank. While it's not a common practice, UV in a QT setup can help make sure nothing nasty makes it into your display tank. UV bulbs don't last forever. Most need to be replaced every 6 to 12 months, depending on the usage. And a dirty sleeve can block the UV light entirely. Make sure you clean the sleeve regularly and check that your unit is running efficiently. And just so we're clear, a UV won't remove ammonia or nitrites or nitrates. It's not a filter, it's a supplement to your filtration system. Before moving on, let me do a quick plug. If you're keeping African cichlids and want to master their care, aggression, tank setup, diet, all of it, check out my Keeping African Cichlids online course. I break it down step by step and you'll avoid months of frustration. And don't forget the AquaBuilder app. It helps you plan your tank, select your fish, and get the right gear. No guesswork, no stress. Links to both in the description. Before you go grabbing a UV sterilizer, you need to check two things: your flow rate and the contact time rating from the manufacturer. A lot of people buy UV units that are too small for their tanks, or they hook them up to a pump that moves water way too fast. If the water's moving too fast, the UV light doesn't have enough time to do its job. It's like microwaving a frozen burrito for 10 seconds and expecting it to be cooked. You know what I'm saying? Don't be that guy. One of the UV units that I do recommend and actually use on my setup is the Fluval Inline UV Sterilizer. It's compact, easy to install, and works great for both freshwater and saltwater systems if sized correctly. While my Fluval UV inline sterilizer is installed on my Planet tank right now, I did show the install process on a different tank. You can check that video out right there. But before you go, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you on the other side. Peace.
Ultra Fire Cervical
Really get overwhelmed with so much information. You know what the #1 problem is that beginners have when entering this hobby? It's deciding what size tank to start with. No, wait. It's figuring out which fish can be kept with which fish. No, that's not it. It's figuring out what ammonia, nitrite, and nitrate do in a fish tank. The real problem is that there's just so much to learn when you dive into this hobby head first. You can easily get overwhelmed with so much information and misinformation. Because of this channel and the platform, I've been on the receiving end of all these questions and concerns, so I know exactly what beginners struggle with the most, and I wanted to create something, a tool that can help the most amount of people in the most efficient way. Many of you OGs of the channel remember when I really wanted to make an aquarium hobby app to accomplish this very thing, but I quickly realized how much time, money had to go into creating something like that, and I didn't have any of that at the time. Today I'm proud to announce that that vision has become a reality. I was finally fortunate enough to find an amazing tech team that were experts in the app building field, and together we brought AquaBuilder to life. It's the first ever free and complete aquarium keeping lifestyle app. Go download it right now. Wait, not right now, after the video. And let me tell you something, guys. This ain't no rinky-dink app. The AquaBuilder app is super intelligent. It's got an algorithm in it that can calculate what kind of fish can go in what kind of tank and all the different combinations. You can create your own custom tanks if you like. It's got a bunch of features like intelligent alerts, tells you the required temperature and pH of a certain tank, gives you details on the fish that you like, including the tank size they should be in. Don't know what you want to start with? It even gives you templates of starter tanks to choose from. It's got it all, guys. AquaBuilder is going to be your one-stop shop for starting, maintaining, and expanding your hobby. Yeah, as much as this is geared to be as helpful as possible for beginners, it's also designed for veterans to have a central location that can keep all of your tanks in check. From keeping tabs on your stock, to reminding you about maintenance times, to calculating how much to add or remove something in your tank. My goal is to make the AquaBuilder app the staple for the entire is the beta version, because the team and I want to hear all your feedback on the app, the positives and negatives, what you love about it and what's missing from it. Any information you think is out of date and needs an update, let me know right here in the comment section or right on the app itself. Our goal at AquaBuilder is to take in all the feedback and implement any changes that will make the app better every single day. And let me just say this, I'm not endorsing this app or sponsored by this app. No sir, no ma'am. I am co-owner of AquaBuilder, so you already know I'm gonna put my drive and effort into making this the best aquarium app ever. With your help, of course. There'll be plenty of future videos on the app with tutorials on specific tools or new changes that have been implemented. You never know, it may even be something that you suggested. So go download it right now. The link is right here and it'll be in the description, both for the iOS App Store and the Google Play Store. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button if you think this was a good idea. Share this video with anybody you think needs an app. And we made plenty of mistakes, myself included. But why start from scratch when we can learn from the mistakes of others? Don't worry, we've all been there. We were all that new guy at some point and we made plenty of mistakes, myself included. But why start from scratch when we can learn from the mistakes of others? This video, we're gonna go over the top 10 biggest mistakes that you make when entering the aquarium hobby. Let's go. Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Kev from CavemanAquatics.com. If you're new here, this channel has plenty of helpful information on the aquarium hobby. I put out a new video every week, so consider subscribing and you won't miss any new content. Now, I do get a lot of beginners that watch this channel, so bear with me if the first few are a little obvious to some of you, but they may not be obvious to everybody else. I like to keep the new guy in mind looking for the most basic information because sometimes that's actually even harder to find. So I'll start with some very common mistakes, but I promise to get to the bigger, less common mistakes that almost all of us have made or are making. So number one is going to be adding fish to an uncycled tank. I know you've heard it before from your local fish store guy, from the guy at Petco, your buddies, and you just can't believe it because it doesn't make sense to you. But it's very natural to want to buy a fish, set up your fish tank, throw it in the tank immediately. You want to get going, you want to feel the glory of having a fish tank, but it's true what everybody says. You cannot add a fish to an uncycled tank. You must allow your tank time to cycle. Adding your fish to an uncycled tank is just gonna cause an ammonia spike. You're gonna end up killing those fish. You're gonna end up having to start all over again. You're gonna wonder what you did wrong, and you may even talk yourself out of the hobby altogether. So follow the instructions from your local fish store, watch some videos on YouTube, watch more of my videos. I've got one right here on cycling your tank. But it is 100% accurate when someone tells you that your tank needs to be cycled before you add fish. Number 2 is gonna be not using dechlorinator when you do a water change. I know this is very obvious, guys, but trust me, there's some people, including myself, that when we start this hobby, we don't know about dechlorinating our water. When you do a water change, your tap water has chlorine in it. Chlorine is going to kill every living thing in your tank. It's gonna kill bacteria, it's gonna kill your fish, it's gonna kill plants. Chlorine is a bad thing, and we must dechlorinate our water using Prime, using API Stress Coat. There's a bunch of dechlorinators in the market. Pick which one you like. I'll put a link to one I use down below. But you must dechlorinate your water before adding it into your tank. Number 3 is gonna be too much light. Now, you may be surprised to find out that the light in your aquarium is not necessary for your fish. That light is totally for you, so that you can view your fish, be able to watch them and enjoy them, but it has no benefit for your fish. Too much light can actually cause stress in the fish. Too much light may even cause aggression problems because they can see each other so well, it may promote attacking or fighting or aggression. Too much light will cause algae growth in your tank. A general rule of thumb in the aquarium hobby is that you want your light on about 8 hours or less if possible. Number 4 is going to be overfeeding. Now, I've said this before in other videos and I'll say it again. If you're new in the hobby, you're most likely overfeeding. You probably need to cut it in half. Half. Overfeeding leads to overeating. Overeating leads to more poop. More poop leads to more nitrate. More nitrates in your tank are going to cause your fish to stress out, which is going to weaken their immune system, leaving them susceptible to disease, parasites, bacteria. This isn't going to be good for anybody. Oh yeah, parasites and bacteria are in this tank right now, and in your tank too. And the only thing fighting them off is your fish immune system, which is why it's so important to not stress your fish out. The least stressed they are, the stronger their immune system is to fight off disease, bacteria, and parasites. But if none of that made any sense to you about overfeeding, I got one that will. Overfeeding is going to give you ugly, cloudy water. So don't do it. Number 5 is going to be, don't do water changes and clean your filters on the same day. This is going to disrupt too much of your biomedia at the same time. Instead, what you want to do is alternate between water changes and filter cleanings. If you do water changes every 2 weeks, then clean your filter the week in between. If you do water changes weekly, then you'd want to do your filter cleaning somewhere in the middle of the week. But don't do them together at the same time, because disrupting all the biomedia at the same time can cause an ammonia spike, and then you're going to have a bunch of problems in your tank. That's going to lead us right into number 6, which is don't clean your biomedia with tap water. For the same reason that we spoke about earlier, the chlorine in your tap water is going to kill all of your beneficial bacteria on your biomedia, which is going to cause an ammonia spike in your tank, and you're going to have a bunch of dead fish. So do not clean your biomedia with tap water. Don't even bother cleaning it too much, actually. Just rinse it off in tank water. Don't ever replace your biomedia. Biomedia is good for years and years and years to come. If you need more information on beneficial bacteria and the nitrogen cycle as a whole, then check this video out. I'll make sure to link it in the description below. Okay guys, you stuck through the first 6, which was geared towards the beginners. I'm glad you stuck around, because now we're going to get into some mistakes that even some veterans are making right now, including myself as usual, but I've had to learn them the hard way, and now I'd like to give you guys that information. Number 7 is going to be not having enough oxygen or surface agitation. Now, I know it may be easy to just buy a bubbler or buy an air stone, throw it in your tank and think that should be good enough. But with time, we're going to add more fish. That's going to reduce the oxygen. We're going to add more nitrates to the tank. That's going to reduce more oxygen. So your best bet is going to be to get a good wave maker. A wave maker pointed at the surface of your tank is going to create a wave all the way across the surface and give you great surface agitation. This is going to make sure that you always have a well-oxygenated tank. I've got a great video on wave makers, and I'll make sure to post a link in the description below. That's gonna lead us right into number 8, which is not having a backup for your oxygen. Oxygen is so important that you need to make sure you back it up in case there's ever a power failure. The livelihood of your fish in your aquarium is relying on power. And if you ever lose power, you're gonna lose everything in your tank. But the first thing that's gonna kill your fish is a lack of oxygen. So you should have a battery backup that monitors your power source, and in the event that you lose power, the battery backup kicks in and supplies oxygen to your tank until the situation can be rectified. I got a great video on that as well. Check it out, link in the description. Number 9 is gonna be not having a redundant heater system. Yes, I've heard many horror stories of coming home from work and you find all your fish have jumped out of the tank and they're laid across your floor because your heater failed and it stayed stuck in the on position and basically cooked them. So having a fail-safe system that backs up your heater in case it stays stuck on or doesn't turn on at all is very important. Guess what I got? Check it out. Okay guys, we reached number 10, and number 10 is gonna be an oldie but a goodie. Big mistake in the aquarium hobby is not quarantining your fish. Come on guys, you know you gotta quarantine your fish. Fish disease is rampant. Wherever you get your fish from, be it the local fish store or you order them online and they got shipped to you, your fish are gonna be stressed out. Like I said, stress is going to weaken their immune system and they can catch many diseases that are very contagious. If you put a sick fish in your main tank with your main guys, it's very likely that whatever they have is going to spread to everybody. And then you've got to medicate the whole tank for weeks and weeks and weeks, which is going to be very costly. You can easily lose fish. You can easily lose an entire tank by not being able to control some parasite, some bacteria that has spread to everybody in the tank. Maybe you don't even notice it and you catch it too late. Very easy to lose an entire tank. So definitely quarantine your fish, make sure they're okay, medicate if you have to, watch them for a couple of weeks, make sure they're eating well, make sure they're not stressed anymore, make sure they're ready to join this tank of everybody who's gonna be very excited to meet these new guys. Did you make it this far? Okay then, I got 2 bonus tips for you. Good thing you stuck around, right? For you new guys getting into the hobby, don't buy your first itty bitty tiny little tank. A small tank is actually gonna be harder to maintain because you're gonna have fluctuations in water parameters and it's gonna drive you nuts. It's harder to keep your pH levels the same. It's harder to keep temperature right, and it's harder to test for nitrates and ammonia. It's just harder in a smaller volume of water. So the part 2 of my bonus tip is to buy a bigger tank, obviously, but what you want to do is buy it secondhand. Go on Craigslist or LetGo or any of those apps where people sell their used stuff. You can get a nice size 30 or 40 or 50 gallon tank to start with, and make sure you find something that comes with the whole set. They've got plenty of tanks that come with the stand, that come with the filters, that come with the heaters. Buy something that comes complete as a set. That way, not only is it going to be easier for you to maintain that water, maintain the fish, maintain the parameters, but also, if you feel that maybe the fish hobby isn't for you, because it does require a lot of work, it's not for the lazy, ask anybody. If you feel that maybe you don't want to stick with it, you can easily resell it right back on those same platforms that you bought it from and take a very minimal hit on what you sell it for versus what you bought it for. So no harm, no foul. You were able to get in, you were able to have a good sized tank and test it out, and if you didn't like it, get rid of it, all good. Nobody's mad at you. Now, if my big head was in the way while you were trying to get a good shot of these fish, then check this video out on top. It's a great video on the 10 things that you must know about African cichlids. Or if you're a beginner, check this playlist